Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So for this video, I'm going to be doing my December wrap-up. I'm going to be chatting about all of the books that I managed to get to in the month of December. And December was a pretty good reading month for me. Despite how busy I am usually this time of year for my job, which I work at the post office, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm a mail carrier. But I have managed to read a decent amount of books. Most of these were, short books or a lot of audio with like driving back and forth and stuff. So I've had a pretty good reading month, and overall, I've had a pretty good reading year. Probably when Stacy gets back from her sisters in Indiana, we're going to be doing like a comprehensive like reading stats video about, the number of books we've read, number of pages and all that stuff. But for today's video, I'm just going to be chatting about the books that I read in December. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first two books I'll mention here are books that I don't own physically. One of them would be Boy's Life by Robert McCammon, or what is his name? Is it McCammon? I think so. Boy's Life. Either way, this is a pretty good book. And this was Andrew's pick for Patreon. I do a Patreon wheel spin every month. Patreons get to choose a book if they win for me to read in the month. And Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads, he picked Boy's Life because he loves this book and this author. I previously had read Swan Song by him and gave it 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. And kind of the same thing with this book. I really enjoyed it and also gave it 4 stars. I did not love it like Andrew did. I think that's like one of his favorite books of all time, 5 stars. This one was pretty good. It basically, like the title says, it's a boy's life in the 60s, like in the South. And a lot of weird stuff happens. I originally tried to read this book before, but it wasn't working for me. Like, it was very episodic. Like, every chapter, like, something different would happen, and I just wasn't in the mood for it. But I fell into the story this time and got really engrossed in it. It wasn't perfect by any means. I think it might be a bit too long. But overall, I really did enjoy it, and definitely is it Robert McCammon? Why am I not thinking straight today? Either way, I will definitely read more by this author because Swan Song and Boy's Life were definitely very good. Oh, also, before I forget, the other audio that I tried to do was This Is How You Lose the Time War by an author that I really don't remember. I did not like this book. It's like a 4-hour audio, and I've had the audio for a while, so I was like, I might as well just try it. I DNF'd it, even though it was only 4 hours. I may have gotten like an hour and a half or 2 hours in. The writing was just very flowery. I was very confused about what was actually going on, and I just didn't really like the writing style, so I DNF'd it. So I don't have too much to say about that one. All right, so now let's jump into the books that I own physically as of right now, because I might unhaul some of these. Probably. We're going to start with The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. Now, originally, going into this book, I did not know that this was the same author as Something in the Water, which I had DNF'd. I got like a few chapters into that book, and I was like, this is not good. But surprisingly, this book was actually very good. I gave it 4 stars. It's essentially about this woman who is getting ready to marry this billionaire, and she starts to meet his family, and she can tell right away that his family is very weird, and it goes in a pretty interesting direction, I will say. I enjoyed it for the most part. Not a perfect, like, 5-star all-time favorite, but it was a very serviceable, fun thriller. And I gave this one 4 stars. I also read My Darkest Prayer by S.A. Cosby, and this was our December pick for Thrill, Chill, or Kill book club over on the Bookish Drummer Discord. And this one definitely did not disappoint. I also gave this book 4 stars. Maybe not disappointing, but just slightly disappointing that I didn't love it quite as much as Blacktop Wasteland and Razorblade Tears, which makes sense because this is his debut novel, so I shouldn't expect it to be on the same level as, his other books. But yeah, I still really enjoyed this one. It's definitely in that same vein of like Southern noir, crime thriller. I just love his writing style. I love his characters. This one, I think, gets a little bit lower because I think the stakes weren't as high and it wasn't as like just thrilling, and I don't know. It just wasn't as thrilling as like Blacktop Wasteland. Like that book had me on the edge of my seat. This one was just pretty good, and I really enjoyed his characters. I'm definitely going to be reading every book that he writes. Sometime next year, I will read All the Sinners Bleed. Very excited for that. And then, like I said, anything else he comes out with, I will be checking out. I also read The Keep by Jennifer Egan. I've had this book for a while, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to read this. I'm not really expecting this to be an all-time favorite. But yeah, I got into it, and it was pretty good from the start. You get into it, and you realize that it's about this guy who had done this terrible thing in the past, and to this one of his friends or cousins or something. And then all of a sudden, years later, after he's gone through a lot of rehab and a lot of just weird things that's happened to him in his life, he is with him like in this castle, like in Europe, and they're looking to fix it up and turn it into something. And yeah, it was pretty good to start out with. I was hoping it was going to go in one direction, but it didn't really go there. And also, this book is just very literary, so not really much happens throughout. There's some really good moments in here, but overall, it's kind of meh. Like, it was just a meh book. I enjoyed it. Gave it 3 stars. Yeah. Next book I have to talk about is Copycat by Alex Lake. And this is just like a random thriller that I had bought months and months ago at my local used bookstore, Paperbacks Inc. And it started out very well. Like, I was surprised at how much I was like getting into this book. It's essentially about this woman who realizes that there is like a Facebook page of like her exact like there's a copycat account of her, and it has pictures that like she didn't take, and it's just like, how did that person get those photos? And it's very creepy. And basically you can tell that this person, because you get little snippets of the person who's doing this to this person, to her, and you can tell that she's trying to make her seem crazy and get her into a state of paranoia. And I thought that was really good. The reason why I ended up giving this 3.5 stars is because of the reveal of who it is and why they're doing this. I didn't really find it that believable, and I thought a lot, like the last third of this book was just kind of silly for me. I didn't really enjoy it, but the build up to it was really good. So I was kind of disappointed. I was expecting this, I got like halfway through. I'm like, this might be a new favorite thriller for me. But sadly enough, the ending was fairly disappointing, and the overall just reveal of everything kind of fell flat for me. Next book I have to talk about is Colorless. Zuku. So I'm sorry. Colorless Zukuro Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage. What a mouthful. Again, by Haruki Murakami. I've read several of his books at this point, and I pretty much know going into it that like his books are going to be written in a very interesting way, and there's going to be some interesting stuff happening, and just, I don't know. I can't read too much Haruki Murakami. Like, I got to read his book, or like read a book by him and then wait several months to read another one. Yeah, but his books, I don't know. Whenever I read his books, I just kind of get this sense of calm. I don't know. It's kind of weird to describe, but like, I really enjoy him just as a writer. And this one is interesting. Like, the title, Colorless Zukuro Tazaki. He's with this group of friends, and these other friends in his friend group all kind of have like colors in their name. But he was the only one that doesn't. And like, they're a friend group for a long time, and then all of a sudden he goes to college, and then they write to him like, we're no longer your friends, don't contact us, like we want nothing to do with you. And then he's just very depressed for a long time. And then years later, he gets a girlfriend, and the girlfriend's like, why don't we try to look up these people? And basically, that's his pilgrimage of like trying to figure out why, his lifelong friends just abandoned him. And it was really good. I give it 4 stars. It's got some weird Murakami-isms, so be prepared for that. But yeah, I really liked it. I wouldn't say it's top 5, maybe, for Murakami, but I really did enjoy it. These next 2 books were probably my favorite books that I read in the month of December. The first one I'll talk about is Led Zeppelin by Bob Spitz, and this is basically a Led Zeppelin biography. This was a fun read. Obviously, if you know me well, Led Zeppelin is my all-time favorite band, so it was fun, getting, very familiar stories and background on the band and their songs and their touring and all that stuff. And there were some pretty cool tidbits that I had never really known about Led Zeppelin, which was fun to learn about. The reason, you would think, I would automatically give this book 5 stars, but the reason it gets 4.5 stars is that this author kind of has like weird, pretentious views on a lot of their songs. Like for each album, he'll kind of like go through like the songs and like what they were thinking or like what they did. And then he'll sometimes give like little snidey comments on some of these songs. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, who are you trying to impress here? But yeah, I didn't like that part. But overall, it was a pretty fun book. Led Zeppelin is still my all-time favorite band, and it was fun to get a whole 600-page book full of Led Zeppelin. And the last book that I finished in the month of December, might be my favorite book that I've read in the month of December. It did make my honorable mentions list. So did Led Zeppelin. But this one has stuck with me, and it's a book that I did not anticipate loving like I did. And that would be The Changeling by Victor LaValle. This book, I didn't really know what to expect going into it. And I think that's the best way of going into this book, not knowing a whole lot about it. But yeah, you start out, I don't even want to, I just want to say like how it's written. It's written in 8 parts, and this is, I'll do this. So part 1, first comes love. Part 2, then comes marriage. Part 3, then comes baby in a baby carriage. And then part 4, shit damn motherfucker. Like I was kind of flipping through the book, and I was like, oh, it's written in 8 parts. And then I randomly flipped to this. I'm like, oh, I got to get to whatever that means. And yeah, it's a crazy book. It's kind of like it's like a literary horror book. But yeah, I don't even really want to say what it's about. Like if you're at all interested from just reading like those, like parts 1 through 4 of that, go check this out. It'll definitely be one of the weirdest books you've read, and it wasn't perfect, but I've really enjoyed my overall experience with this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm definitely going to check out more by this author. And I have a couple of more books that I'd love to finish in the month of December. As of filming, it is December 29th, so I still have today and then 2 more full days. Well, not full days because I work tomorrow. But I do have a couple more days of reading to get in, and I'm actually in the middle of 2 books at the moment. One of them would be It Haunts the Mind by Nick Roberts, and this is a self-published horror short story collection. This is by the same guy who wrote The Exorcist House, which I did really enjoy. I've read, I think, like 4 or 5 short stories. They're all pretty good so far, including a couple that are like really good. So I'm definitely expecting this one to be a new favorite collection. And then I'm also a few chapters into The Haar or The Hair by David Sotengren. And this was just a cover by, or I didn't buy this. My brother got it for me for either my birthday or for Christmas. I think birthday. But yeah, this randomly popped open on Amazon. I was like, ooh, what the hell is that thing? And yeah, I'm a few chapters in, and I'm hoping to finish it before the end of the year. So yeah, I'll definitely let y'all know in my January wrap-up or January video or whatever how I get along with these 2 books. All right, so that is my December wrap up. All of the books that I finished in the month of December, and then 2 books that I will hopefully finish in the month of December. What did you guys think of the books that I chatted with you about here? I can talk. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books, whether you liked them, loved them, thought they were meh, and what were your favorite and least favorite books that you read in the month of December. Please let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. And go join the Bookish Drummer Discord where we have a ton of stuff going on. Throw Chiller Kill Book Club, Stephen King Short Story Book Club, and starting in January, we're going to start reading The Black Prism and the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. So that'll be a lot of fun and a lot to look forward to. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and have a fantastic day.